So the question in this one is, are any of these poisons able to make me lose weight immensely and just lose muscle density and things like this? Because I'm trying to figure out why my symptoms feel like they're so very unnatural and unnaturally occurring in my body and in my life. And not to mention that, but I've collected from patterns of this abuse, and I've locked in memories with the Lord because I realized at one point that these things had happened to me before, and I was out working and I couldn't write. I couldn't get to a pad of paper and a pen to write them down, and I was working for a guy, and I went around back of the pole barn, and I just remember like just falling apart, kind of, like, and it took me like a while to get back to work, and luckily there was no one there at the time. But I didn't count that time as work hours. I took a break, and I didn't count that or add that into my work hours. So the guy at the time was very appropriate with me and what I was going through, and treated me fairly for the most part. And so I liked working for him, and in fact, I miss working for him. I wish that things didn't go the way they did. He didn't. He didn't even believe that I was sick as fuck and couldn't make it to work. Like, just seeing me the day before, like, or a few days before, just actually sick as fuck. Like, you could see it. Something wasn't right. And I think it has to do with this as well, because of the patterns that were repeating in my life when he was around, especially, or someone that he had gotten loyalties from. And so this is a study of poisons that can potentially be used little by little to poison a person up with. And so I want to talk about the heavy metals first, which is arsenic, lead, mercury, cadmium, and symptoms of chronic exposure to heavy metals can cause a wide range of symptoms, including muscle weakness, fatigue, significant weight loss, all of which I have earned, I guess, with the arsenic poisoning, or had to deal with. And in particular, it can cause gastrointestinal symptoms like vomiting and diarrhea, which were also both present, which can also lead to malnutrition and rapid weight loss, which has also been my case. Granted, I know my ability to lose weight on my own uh, with diet and exercise, and I've done a lot myself, so I feel like I knew my own ability to see these things. And so the long-term effects over time is that these metals can accumulate in the body, damaging the nervous system, kidneys, liver, and muscles, potentially causing muscle wasting, or better yet, known as atrophy. So how to detect is the heavy metals can be often found within blood tests, urine tests, or hair analysis. So I've been trying to find a place that can do both blood and hair analysis, because I believe that it's been too long for it to be found in blood. And so I just need to know that I can trust that that's where my care would be going to. And with the with the plight I've been faced up with, I just don't even think it's possible to get a person to actually study these things onto the levels in which I'd be asking them to look into my case. Um, I believe that's the I believe arsenic, honestly, from my studies, is what I was given. And granted, I don't know, but that's what I went to go on, like when I left my last doctor's visit, and then I studied it like none other, and it just made me so scared because then these things were these when these things happened to me again, that's when I was aware like I can't trust anything coming from these people. I can't trust that they're doing right by me with anything. So without me throwing away my coffee for like 2 weeks, leaving and throwing away my coffee, I think that the last attack, I mean, not this last attack with the chemical attack, but the one before that when I fell, I came in my house and I fell to the ground. And, and I couldn't tolerate that it was coming from these people. Can't even get through this. But then there's cyanide, which I believe was the last one because it was just so intense. But cyanide poisoning disrupts the body's ability to use oxygen as well. Uh, as arsenic, it constricts the body's ability to use oxygen. So you just feel like you're suffocating and you don't understand why. And you can't, I don't think, when you're given it because it's like your whole reasoning skills is gone. And like and memory, past memories have to, from what I've discovered, your body's chemistry has to make up for that. And so it actually takes away your memories. And like you don't remember things that just happened, basically. So your short term memory is just fucked. So it can create new memories. And they're only in the meantime. They're just as you're living. So you just get kind of thrown into autopilot mode. And then it leads to cellular death, which results in weakness, rapid weight loss, muscle fatigue, and wasting, atrophy. The long term effects, even low exposure of cyanide over time, can cause weight loss and neurological problems. And then ways to detect is similar, detected in blood tests shortly after exposure, but chronic low doses of exposure may be harder to diagnose without specific tests to determine cyanide. And then there's thallium, which is symptoms of highly toxic uh, metal. In this case, in some poisoning cases, it can be used for rapid weight loss, muscle wasting, fatigue, atrophy, and neurological symptoms like numbness, tingling, and pain, which there's also certain numbness and numbness and that can occur with arsenic. And so it my from my studies from how I felt makes more sense with that than anything else I've studied based on symptoms that I'm feeling that through the strength that it took for me to like actually dig myself out from under. I was like over 300 pounds. I got myself down quite a bit. I had quite a bit of energy and ability and honestly, I think these things just made me on fire because I just wanted to focus on the Lord. And I don't think people around me can handle that. And so I've dealt with a lot of abuses in workplace and stuff like that I don't think anyone should have to deal with what I've already been faced up with. But thallium is highly toxic. The poisoning often leads to muscle weakness and wasting, as well as other severe symptoms such as hair loss, organ damage, and cognitive decline, which I believe is all a part of arsenic as well. But I don't really read so much of hair loss and stuff like that. I had some hair loss on my legs at one point, along with the numbness and tingling. So I don't know if that will help a listener to help discover arsenic or relate the symptoms to that. But I really believe it was arsenic, and in the end that it was cyanide to kill me. And I'm lucky. I just feel so lucky that I'm still here, but I'm fighting, and I've been grinding so fucking hard in life that just coming to coming to terms with it was just one thing, and then trying to catch them a whole nother, and then just everything else on top of it was just how do I move? How do I do my life, you know? On top of like just everything all at once. It was just too much. And I believe it would have been too much for anybody, not just myself. People actually do die this way in this life, and that's just sad. I mean, just in and of itself, it's just sad. So, how to detect thallium as poisoning can be detected in the same ways through blood and urine as it accumulates in the body. So, it'd be an easier thing to test for. I don't know how long it stays in your system for, though. I'd have to look that up. Uh, there's pesticides, organos or organophosphate poisons. These chemicals are often found in insecticides that can cause muscle weakness, tremors, and rapid weight loss. They disrupt the nervous system, leading to both physical and neurological symptoms. And long-term effects are prolonged exposure can lead to long-term neurological damage, fatigue, weight loss, and muscle wasting. And how you detect it is through blood tests and measure levels of cholinesterase or cholinesterase. I don't know how to say that word. It's an enzyme that's found by organophosphate poisoning. So if there's that enzyme that's in your body, and again, I don't know about the timing, but that's how that can be detected. Um, there's poisonous plants from rice into castor beans. But that has nothing to do with what I'm trying to discover here, or the radiation poisoning that's bringing up here. And so there's also dioxins, are environmental pollutants that can accumulate in body fat over time. This may lead to weight loss, muscle wasting, and weight loss, fatigue, and immune system damage. Um, Muscle atrophy and long-term effects, and an increased risk of cancer, along with other skin conditions. Dioxin exposure is detectable through specialized blood tests as well. Fat tissues or other tissue samples from the body can be found with higher levels of dioxins. And just to conclude with what the biggest part of my study, I'm just skipping. But if you're experiencing those things, rapid weight loss, muscle wasting, and other unnatural symptoms of like your brain's patterns, like critical thinking errors, basically, and you're just constantly like, I would say it's like an anxiety that's induced by like you're unable to use your short-term memory to actually tack things like quitting smoking, things like that. You don't even have your mind. You're just lighting up cigarette after cigarette, and it's not like you don't have a it's not like you don't have the ability to thrive. And how would you say, like, to have willpower? It's not like you don't have ability to willpower, but your willpower is like stripped from you and in its use because of that poison taking away the memory. So it's like even if you have the thought that you want to quit smoking, 5, 10 minutes later, you're lighting up a cigarette. And it's like you can't stop it because that's addiction in and of itself. But at the same time that it's the addiction, it's also your mind's ability to conquer that, and that part of your mind is being constricted on you. And I've also studied ways to get your mental clarity back, and I have workshops that I'd like to build with inside of a website for myself to complete. And then when I complete these things, that they can help many other people as far as like just detoxing in general and getting their health back, getting their mental clarity back, and removing that mental fog. That being the goal and the only goal in mind with exercise and a rigorous routine would also be able to clearly put you in the front lines of having the energy to attack these other areas that you're trying to attack, where it's like you want I have a really formidable business plan. I'm not trying to give people what that business plan is, but it's really formidable, and it's in all honesty, what I feel like I've been writing up is just it's a war plan. It's like a not a war plan, but it's a war plan for yourself, and it's a plan that can take your life to the next levels, and it can help so many other people. I believe that me just getting involved in that way and being able to get involved in that way would not only set me on fire with the business opportunity, but I would be able to actually get out there and in real time be able to help and change people's lives. So it's important to explain your concerns about the potential poisoning and the comprehensive toxicology screening, but oftentimes when you do bring up these things, they're not like trying to go into those areas of criminality. They're just trying to do their jobs and not have to deal with anything that would subpoena them into court or anything like that. Just because people don't want that extra attention. They don't want to take out extra time to actually help people in that way. And this includes doctors and pharmacologists and the things that have to deal with the pharmakia that's out here. Early detection is crucial because the longer these things stay in your body, the more damage can occur. And I suspected foul play, and I'm glad that I did, because I believe wholeheartedly that without me just suspecting it and using my notebook to make sure I'm writing stuff down instead of going on my computer, I believe that keeping those records of my symptoms were important to me and relevant to the information that could help me within the medical community identify the problems, that they were those things. And I don't think I'm far off from the truth there, because it's not like I didn't at least know her to some extent as far as who she was. And I really was able to understand his thought process, because he brought up things that inside of our relationship that told me that I had to watch out for him because of how he was in my past. And then on top of that, just that story disappearing all the hacks in the timeliest of fashions to suggest that it was to suggest to me that this person didn't want anything to happen with me to be able to get out from under, because he in fact knew that I wanted to speak out for like 15 years, and he couldn't handle that because it would have been him that I was speaking about, even if I didn't know it was him. So I don't think he could have handled that, and he didn't want it in the first place, let alone me to have just a regular life outside of being able to speak out, because the wholehearted narcissism that was there to ruin me. And so I've been documenting everything and collecting evidence to no end that have to deal with this kind of narcissistic abuse. And like I can see it on myself. Like, I don't know. I can see it on myself that something had happened to me, and it's hard to like go and take it to those extremes or those places when it just seems like the only thing that people are after is getting me into a position where they otherwise would need me to be to finish the job. And it's just scary. I mean, I know it's an unprecedented thought, and it's like people don't have to normally think that way. And I get that. I totally wholeheartedly get that, but given the circumstances I've been faced up with and inflicted with, that people just don't even want to see them as being real, versus they just think that I'm making this stuff up. That's what they think. They think I'm making this stuff up and I'm living in the past, even though I'm dealing with the current conditions of the fact that I'm dealing with. You know, when I say chemical reprieve, I mean symptomatically my body is dealing with things that I think are wholeheartedly from these poisons and from these attacks. It's like the narcissism, the word salad, the cheating, the lying, the manipulation, all of those things definitely do tax you and put in an added level of cortisol running through your body. And what I've discovered was like more than what a with what I've dealt with is more than what a horse should have to deal with through that stress or that added cortisol. So I don't know how I was able to attack that in and of itself. But when you're just trying to get away from these people and you realize that you can't, that they're just working really really hard to make sure that you don't have time, money, resource, action ability to take in that way to even discover what they're doing. And then on top of it, you are discovering what they're doing, and it's just hurting you so fucking bad that when these poisons happen or when I was chemically attacked, it was really bad. Like really bad. And I'm not even kidding you. Like I don't want to experience it ever again. And I mean, if all of my years were nothing but this satanic ritual abuse, I hardly feel like I'll ever even get a chance to live a normal life. And with all the attacks that I've had in this life, I legit feel like I mean, it's harsh, but I wish that I wish I had that opportunity to be with somebody that could actually face these things with me, but with how like under attack I am, like who would want to invite themselves into that? So I'm not suicidal by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm definitely just feeling like I'm so discarded in life, and not just from this, but from other areas and other events that have happened that lead me to the same belief that this man's like involved in hacking and maneuvering around my life and whatever dollar figure or whatever. I don't know how it's all done, but that's why I want an investigation started, because it is a criminal matter. It's not a mental health matter. But honestly, if I could get a Lamborghini space shuttle to somewhere that I just don't have to deal with any of these people or any of this shit anymore, I would rather go live out my life on Mars. And I don't know. That's how I feel though. I don't like life anymore. I used to have such a vigor for life and wanting to do things, and I still do, and I still would if I was ever able to like get a healthy donation. But from what my studies are, is that charity in and of itself is the same thing. It's deception and it's manipulated just like the media is, and everything else is. And so when people are actually looking for charity, who actually need charity, they it's legitimately to show you they have like these $1 billion offshore accounts, and there's no one that you can actually write that's going to write you back. Even like I've tried multiple attempts to different areas of charity, and I personally am getting nowhere. So, and after 15 years of needing that kind of support, with a really amazing business plan that I think is the fire that's gonna act that would actually change things in this world. Like the the outlets that are just out here today don't want people like me to doing anything. I'm like a target there. I'm a targeted individual because I speak the truth and the truth is under attack. And on top of that, I'm actually for people getting off drugs and all that kind of stuff. And so anyone that I'd be stepping on their toes to like make money in that way, well, I'm under attack there too. And so either way, I hope you guys pay attention to what I'm trying to bring about out here because this stuff means an awful lot to me, you guys. If I was able to land myself just a little bit of a windfall in that way to create this thing, that's where I would be going, and I would be hitting the streets, and I would be working like I have a long laundry list of ways that I can grow on, but it's a formidable attempt to like put myself out there in a way to combat what people's pains are when they're choosing to use. And I wouldn't be like going after the people that are just far beyond driven. I mean, maybe I'd hand them something or like, I don't know, just try and show them that there's people out there that care because I oftentimes don't feel like people even know that people driving by care. They just think like, I mean, you see people that are just so outside of themselves, yelling and screaming, walking down the street. Just they're so broken that they don't even think like you driving by cares about them. And then if your car is like right by where they're at and they're just in the worst mind frame ever, they can like punch your windows or like try and cause you harm and it's just man, it's sad. It's just sad to watch what's happening in our world. And in all honesty, I think that it's an amazing plan, and it is a thing that can turn things around. There's not anything else that anyone's doing out here that can actually turn things around in the way that I would be working. And so, with that being said, I would be going up against a lot of charities, and I would be trying to do things within their own charities to become a partner with or to partner with. And I just already know for a fact that I would be under attack because oftentimes these places are run by people that are along with the Jesuits order or they serve two masters or or they're Freemasons or what have you, which work in highly in deception and they don't want you to know the truth because the truth will set you free. And so any of these truth tellers out here, they're getting no time. They're getting hacked. Their lives are getting hijacked and stuff like that in more ways than people can even imagine, I believe. Because you are a threat. You are a threat to what they're capable of doing because I wholeheartedly believe that a true free country has no issues with poverty, has no issues like this with drugs. Maybe there's still drug use and maybe there's still things going on, that are still apparent, but it's not as widespread and it's not as like pushed into panic mode and pushed to the brink as they are these days. And so I believe wholeheartedly that the outlets that we do have out here, they're not trying to help us. They're not trying to help us. They're just doing everything in their power to hurt us, disenfranchise us, and make sure that we don't get our voices heard. And just for the record, if I got my own heart work together, they they would have a feared opponent. Put it that way. They would definitely have a feared opponent because I wouldn't be stopping as far as raising awareness and as far as actually trying to work in charity that actually helps people realize the truth about the systems and the pressures that are being added onto their lives. And so I believe that we as people working in charity in this fashion have every right to get out there in that way. And it's an amazing plan, you guys. I'm just gonna tell you that flat out. I believe it's ordained through the Lord for me to work in, and I also believe that it is the fire. It is the only fire I feel that can actually turn this around. So that's why I'm asking for your donations. That's why I'm asking for your time even to try and put something together for me. And it's mainly because you have far more influence than I have, even if you've been on Facebook for 2 years. I just started my new account because my old accounts were hacked and I don't have the reach I used to have. And granted, I didn't have influence in the first place, but I would like that added influence into me because with that added influence into me, into what I'd be willing to do, it can transfer and change people's lives in an intense way and really fast, I feel. Like very fast. I mean, just reaching one or two people that work inside of Heartwork can make 9 people. And those 9 people can make 36 people. And then, it's just 3 by 3 by 3 by 3, basically. It's just like a multi level marketing thing, only it's not multi level marketing, it's network marketing. And it's the fact that there are so many people out there hurting, looking for that truth, searching for truth, and searching for an opportunity within it, that just creating this thing would be the snowball effect that would be bigger than anything, I think. I honestly think if I got my chance to put this thing together in a year's time, the whole world would be different. So that's why I'm looking for an investment. If I don't get there, and I never really got a day to get above 2% lived, then you can see why I don't want to mess. You can see perfectly why I wouldn't want to fuck with anybody out here in the world anymore. Just because, I don't know, people care more about fiat currency than they do their own, and people have to really look at themselves in the mirror and determine what matters to them right now when it comes to the Lord's work. And if they don't have a calling from the Lord, I urge you strongly to do some really hardcore, heavy lifting in prayer and to really do it. So if you do those things and you see with where I'm trying to go with my mission, reach out to me, share my work, comment, support me. And if you do have anything to give, please do. I'm on Cash App. My hold is the money sign Chase Your Dreams Today. All one word. Chase your dreams today. I really wish that I could get someone to put something together out there that they have influence for. So I'm not exactly looking for your own personal money. What I'm actually looking for is your influence. Your influence to put something together for me that can pay more than what you could ever do. You see what I mean? And that if it's like many people doing that, I think that the sky is the limit, folks. So anyway, that's where I'm trying to go without my heart's work and without me being able to actually work on anything in general because of being hacked and misaligned and treated like garbage by garbage people and garbage friends and shit like that. Well, I don't know. I guess I'm just waiting for the Lord because I don't like being here anymore. I don't like living with people that don't care about things. And it's not to say like my own family or anything like that and that there isn't good people in the world. It's just I don't get to hang out with any of them. I don't get to do anything, and I feel like everywhere I've been, as far as having friends and having people that would actually like to support me or like to work on a song with me or do something fun, I just think that it's all been constricted from me through that hacking and also through like my own emotional stance. If like there was a person that wanted to come into my life or at the time that they felt like they could come around, that it wouldn't be so easy for me given circumstances. And so I showed a different face then, and I showed a different character than I otherwise feel I would have been, making it harder to be a guy's friend. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope you guys support me and decide that the man you're looking at would be like fuller and look more, I don't know, happy. But I can't change what's happened to me. I can only go with what is, and what I'm trying to go on is a very, very formidable move into charity. And at first it was just for charity's sake. But little by little did these things erode me. And now again, after 15 years, I'm looking for charity for myself now. Which is, to me, just completely gutter trash sad. Because my mission and my network, getting that vision up online and having the business cards to throw around in different courses and classes and workshops and stuff that I have like all ready to go. Like I have all ready to go. I have like the ability to work. It's just that when you're just flattened this way, it's hard. It's hard to just have the courage and the will to go on. And then, like I've said in other videos, I would like to be out working right now. And truth be told is I'm scared. I'm scared because I've had numerous attacks happen to me, and every time it just puts me into a really bad place. And then I have gotten into an accident, and it's like I felt even at that point like I was supposed to die, or the goal is always to hurt me really badly. I'm going up against the systems and the systematic pressures that are, and right now I don't believe that there's any actual charity. I don't believe that there is any actual health care. I don't believe that there is any actual food anymore. I believe our food is being stifled in every aspect of it. I hardly have the availability to trust if something is organic just because of the ways that they can go around organic growing. And so I just don't think that people know what they're buying anymore. I don't think that people know what they're going to work for anymore. And I just wholeheartedly believe that people have been drawn out of their hearts so that they can't live in them. And then they, over time of putting dream A, dream B, dream C, and so on and so forth, and they put all their dreams up on the shelf. Well, originally it started with we're just going to put this dream up on the shelf. We'll get back to this later, but the more time goes on, the more you're ripped out of this heart, and the more you're led into a spirit of doubt, and then you think to yourself, I'm never going to get to those dreams. So this is me working on my dreams. I hope that you're working on yours, and it's a part of my vision that uh, we can join forces, and together in that way your dreams and my dreams can come to life in a very miraculous way. So that's how I want people to pray, and that's how I want people to believe, and I want people to actually give the Lord the faith, or have faith that the Lord is mighty, that the Lord can do things, because the Lord is mighty and the Lord can do things, and the Lord does. So just stay safe out there. I hope you guys pay attention to my messages. And for now, God bless you guys. And I hope that you guys Have an awesome week ahead. Thanks for being here.